Wire out wider, it's Storm Boy in front, 100 metres left to run. Highness can't bridge back the margin, then Spy Wire, but it's all Storm Boy, and Storm Boy is too good for them in the 2-year-old. Storm Boy by 3.
Welcome to Bet Doctor Behind the Curtain. Look at how pro punters operate. I'm your host, Scoot. I'm in studio with John Walter. How are you, brother?
All the riffraff's gone for another year. My hip's gone for another year. No more golf. I'm retired.
Outstanding. Johnny Farnham will start calling you. DK, you got the post-holiday blues down in Melbourne town?
Yeah, well, I'm one of that riffraff that Walt was talking about. I was 10 days. I was pretty settled in up there after 10 days in a nice routine. You know, it was a couple of beers by the pool and into the mango daiquiris and into espresso martinis and out for dinner and into everything else. And it's lucky I had the kids there with me, actually. So it helped me slow me down about midnight a few nights. But, no, it was great fun up there. Great catching up with everyone. Caught up with you guys. Met Tristan and Lloyd, which I didn't know. Tristan came up to me and said, actually, I've never actually met in person, even though I've been with Little Birdie for so long. So it was great to have a chat with him and chat with Lloyd. And it was great up there, great exciting. We had that runner in the first race in the Country Cup. And
I thought it was a nice ride.
Yeah, it was a good $500,000 barrier trial. That was good. Thanks, Willow. That was great. But, yeah, it was good. But anyway, probably I was saying the best thing was I took my young bloke, sort of got him riding involved. He's that age. He's 11 now. And you know, he lives, eats and breathes cricket, racing, cricket, footies, basketball, but he hasn't really had an appetite for racing. So I thought I'll throw him right in the swing of things this time. So took him out to the sales. He saw one get sold for 1.4. It was mind-boggling for him. Then wandered over the stables with Jared to see the horse. And next minute he's feeding them all carrots and wandering around their boxes. And then took him to the races and got him involved there, and he was there with Willow, and Willow's, you know, pre-race telling him about the whip and asking him all about his gear and everything, and he just came home and he just loved it. It was I reckon that's one memory will stick with him, and hopefully I want him over there. So that was a positive scoot, whetting the young fella's appetite for the great game.
Fancy that, taking the kids to the track and getting them involved. Who would have thought? Food for thought for the administrators and old mate Andrew Jones, who's under more pressure than the early settlers. The Gold Coast track, DK, 10 out of 10. I thought on the backup, it raced absolutely perfectly.
Well, it did there, because obviously Willow rode our thing, so he sort of worked out in the first day there the week before that the inside was the place to be, and he rode 3 or 4 winners, didn't he, or something, and he walked the track again. He said it's got something to do with Kikuyu. The track worked perfectly, but he thought the inside might have been the place to be again, at least early doors on last Saturday, but they won from everywhere, didn't they? Like, full credit to Navesh, and he'd be loving it up there, not having that, but, you know, all the dramas he had down in Sydney with all those torrential rain. I mean, you do get a lot of rain up there, but, gee, it dried out perfectly, didn't it? So, no, it raced perfectly, Scoot. Beautiful.
Could be the best track in Australia. I can't believe Trent Edmonds is leaving. Nico's dialing from home, so he's still with us. How are you, mate?
I'm good, boys. I didn't venture up to the Gold Coast last weekend, so it's nice and quiet down here, but we're chipping away. I got a big meeting from Flemington on Saturday and a huge meeting from Hobart on Sunday as well. So I've got 2 roughies at Flemington that can hopefully potentially run a place, and then 2 that look pretty hard to beat at Hobart. So keen to rip in.
The Gold Coast track probably just nestle in as number 2, Flemington be number 1, and then Gold Coast number 2 track, best track in Australia.
Anything with straight racing is not a good track. Blech.
Hey, didn't. What about Rocky? Is Rocky going to get our straight track, Walt? Didn't I just hear that from those boys up there? Got the permit to extend that straight. Yeah, they got the permit done. There it is. We don't want to throw it in the bin.
You won't see any mile races at Mudgee for a while. The bloke who's on the board there for 20 years, they worked out how to pull the big coup to get rid of him, but forgot to check that he owned the mile start. He owned the chute. He owns all the land around the track. So now he's fenced it off. He's put a nice little fence up there. So you won't see any mile races at Mudgee for a while. Big fella's flexed his muscles.
Gonzo.
Yeah, you might want to check who owns the land your track's built on before you start upsetting people.
Wow, Racing New South Wales, a little bit of an oversight there. I think we might have seen the death of the AirPods behind the gate. So it was all the hype, all the talk. AirPods going to get the jockeys mic'd up. And I think maybe the Sydney bowler drama is a classic use case of why that's a bad idea. The horse stuck under the gates and all the races got pushed back sort of a race and a half. But that's
they did the same thing here. Like, the jockeys are all behind it. Then the first 10 people who respond to their jockeys going, What? Like, why do they do it? Why don't they actually consult who they say they do before they do, say, post?
Sorry, just back to the backdacks, because obviously it was put them in, when they're galloping to the start, and then have them for minute or two behind the gates, and then they got to rip them out and pass them to someone or something before they load or something. Was that the ideal scenario? Or?
I think it wasn't even that. I think it was just behind the gates. But regardless, it's just there's so much going on. Like, it's just what are you going to gain from it at the end of the day? And what could you lose? Like Scoot said, like the horse with blindfold going nuts next year. Anything could happen. Imagine a 2-year-old race, 18 horses, and they're just trying to work out. Like the poor jockey's trying to concentrate. There's just no upside to it.
They weren't on Storm Boy and they weren't on Hippo. Built like a tank, went like a Learjet. So we got that one right. And the other...
did a what? Like, that's one of the biggest wins you'd see. Like, I know Hippo knew what he was probably had underneath him, and Gage just said, just do what you got to do. But to watch him, so caught wide, press, then just...
Half missed it, yeah. Half missed it, then jammed it again, and then took off. Like, watching it, you just had to go, well, he's got it, something's going to come, and then Highness has had the best run you've ever seen in your life, was going to go straight past it, and then he just went into overdrive.
Overdrive, yeah. That was an enormous win. That was a highlight up there for sure.
I thought Timmy rode 2 Down Lizzie, and then Hippo rode Storm Boy, and I just love the way they sort of nursed him around that corner, let him balance up, and then he just went from again, and both horses.
It looked ugly 2 Down Lizzie because he was hanging. He wasn't hanging. He was trying to nurse it, and it looked sort of off-ski there for some stage for those who took the shorties. But she kicked in the straight. Thankfully, the guy kicked in.
Timmy did say to me, not the 2 Down Lizzie horse, but the other one. He's like, I went 10-pin bowling with him for 8 minutes after you guys tried to kill me at golf the other day. I had rope burn on my ankle. I was sunburnt. I was cactus. Anyway, he's like, I might be crazy, but I reckon this Storm Boy's a Cox Plate horse. He said, whatever it does this time and that, I don't know. But I think it gives me the feel more of a Cox Plate horse. I've never heard him say that ever about a 2-year-old. So we'll see what happens.
That was funny. I did laugh then because you play golf with Butler and Tim, and drop Butler off with us. Have a big morning. I don't know how long it took you. A big morning of golf. We're off for a quiet beer. Walt and Timmy Clark showed off and said to Butler, "Where are they going?" He said, "They're going a 10-pin bowling." So off they went.
He beat me about 3 years ago at what's the one at Crown Kingpin or something, and he's been ducking and weaving against me ever since. And originally he used to be some champion lawn bowler. We were going there, but we sort of went to. I was too cactus for lawn bowls, but I've got the title back anyway.
Have to straighten the wheels up on the show here. Interesting from the Gold Coast Turf Club and Racing Queensland, $3 million slot race open to non-Magic Million horses on the Friday night before the 2-year-old race day. So they've already got the wave on the Saturday before. Then they're going to jam in a Friday night meeting under lights, and it's for 3-year-olds, 11-horse field, 1,100 metres. Well, makes a big week monster. Imagine doing the Betfair Golf Day all up the races Friday night and still trying to have a bet on Saturday.
Why would you put a race meeting on the Friday night before the Saturday? Why would you do it?
Crazy.
Absolutely insane. Yeah. Anyway, good luck to them.
20 races they covered over the 2 weeks, so it's nearly going to be 30 races in
Just
that.
Crazy.
Yeah.
That's crazy. Like, they've got an opportunity to make this track in time, the premier track in Queensland. I'd say some chance of at least, like
it already is.
It's Friday night. You could put on anything here. You got the sales across the road that fund it all. Just look after the place.
Anyway, interesting to see how that race falls out. And I was really piqued my interest that they open it up to non-Magic Million horses to enter the slot race. It was a bit of a head scratcher for mine, given the whole carnival revolves around that sale.
I guess you hope that all the premium Millions horses already running in a Millions race the following day. So I guess that's their line of thought. It's a strange one.
Yeah, it's very bizarre. Anyway, today's show's going to be pretty good. I've got Donnie's via text only at this stage. He's keen on one early at Eagle Farm, and last week he hit that Flair Multi King of Sparta. Everyone found that one, but Highness the Place just ran a beautiful second behind Storm Boy, so that was $3.50 jobby there. Testalator Silence was an easy watch for you, Walt, all over it, and you got Rosehill Saturday.
Easy, it was awesome. I thought it'd lead or be third defence. It was last. He ran up their backsides the half of the way. He looks like an absolute cowboy early in the races. I'm doing Tom Sherry, but got the result.
Yeah, I noticed you're finding Tom Sherry a lot lately.
Yeah.
Enjoying that?
Well, who else do you find? There's no one there. But anyway.
Nico found Chester Warrior last week at Flemington. That was a beautiful one along the inside. And as he said, he's got Hobart on Sunday, which is beautiful. I'll jump into the Eagle Farm slot this week. I think I found one race, or I found a potential horse that could be gone, and I'll preview that one. And
what's happened to Radelaide, mate? If you're giving it a spell,
where
Radelaide? I thought you were the Radelaide man.
they had Oakbank yesterday.
So why are you at Eagle Farm?
I'm still digging around, but there's just not much doing over there.
Fair
It's pretty sloppy races. A lot of odds on pops and a lot of yucky stuff over there. Just a bit thin at the moment, Adelaide, but I'll get back to Adelaide, have punting for them, and we'll travel. TopSport Steamers found Union Army. He was knocking the door down at $6, so it's been a profitable couple of weeks for those guys. And as DK said, first time he's met Tristan and the boys from TopSport, make sure you give them a chance. This weekend on the punt, they got the protest payout, they got Top Fluck, they got best of the best on the Group 1 races when they return, and the better yet, they're Australian owned and operated. So make sure you bet local with topsport.com.au and join them ASAP if you haven't already with one of our streams. Nico, Flemington on Saturday. Weather's been a bit precarious. How do you expect Flemington to be on Saturday?
I think it'll be pretty good. Seems like there's no more rain for the rest of the week here in Victoria. So looking at what I was looking at, maybe that's completely false. They, as we know with the bomb, they tend to get it wrong or hedge their bets. But I think we should be on a pretty good surface. And I think it'd be a bit like the last meeting. I wouldn't be surprised if the meeting threw up a few curveballs. We're sort of hoping it does, finding a few at odds. But a few of those races look very, they're going to be much relied on tempo and those kind of things, and I think that could mean a few of those favourites are a little bit vulnerable. So I don't think it's a bad day to probably look outside the obvious.
I would have said the same thing. I had a quick look yesterday and very trivial. Flemington race 6 is the first race you're going to go value hunting, and it's the VRC Life member John Dale Mile over 1,600 metres, and Zambogini's a favourite here, equal favourite with Botany, and you got at $4, and you got Naval Seal $6.50, El Solido $8.50, Son of Sol $11, Verify first ups and interesting run at $11, Aperitivo $11, and you got Hasseltoff at $13, and then the roughie that Nico has found here is the Cunning Fox at $71. And we're going to have a look at his trial at Tatura, and you're going to tell us why you like it.
The big grey, he pinged out the barriers in this trial and did the same thing in his first trial at Traralgon, where he was going to hit the line really strongly, and then Billy just kind of eased him back out of the heat. They let him hit the line here, and I thought this was a really slick piece of work. There's a few nice horses in this event. The Pain horse to his inside goes pretty well, and then Jacker Wobby's outside in there, and I just thought he hit the line really well here. He's a horse that can get out over a lot further than this 1,600 metre distance, but I think he's just flying. And looking at this race, I just wanted to be around Zambogini. Naval Seal's not much chop, and then where do you go looking? You look at horses like Verify. I think the Cunning Fox may be a better horse, although he brings in some better form lines last campaign. And I just thought, it's probably a race to go looking for some fresh horses. It didn't seem like there was going to be a lot of tempo, and a horse that seems to be absolutely flying at the trials. If he can get back and just hit the line strongly here and potentially get a race shape to suit him first up, Billy Egan aboard for Patrick Payne. Not often one of theirs goes around at $71. It looks to be flying. So I think he can outperform his SP. I wouldn't even be surprised if the market had a bit of a look at him and he starts close to the 30 or 40s, given some of his figures. And you go back through his form last campaign, he did start favourite around this time last year against Right You Are and Ain't No Deal Done. So the market's always had a huge opinion of him, and I think he's just airborne coming back this prep. So he just seems wrong price at $71, and I think he can run a big race fresh. So happy to have something on him. In a bit of a tricky race, I think there's probably a few other horses that can run well also. I think Verify is definitely an intriguing runner first up. But the Cunning Fox just seems way too long at $71. If
you go deep into the form, he's got okay performance around the 1,400, 1,600 metre range with Auradonte and Love Tap and horses like Struck By and things like that. So, I guess not the strangest thing I'd see. And, El Solido and Verify sort of piqued my interest a little bit, but definitely a race that looks up for grabs. Anything your end, DK?
Yeah, well, I was like, so Nico, it sort of seemed a tricky race to me. I mean, El Solido's one we've tipped on the show here, so he's sort of one of mine. Verify, I think we found on the show when he won last prep. He resumed, so for looking for further, but so does Cunning Fox. Zambogini sort of, it's the obvious there, but it just feels a bit icky. It's got to run a strong mile at Flemington, so I can see yeah, even race, but I can see why Nico's value hunting there.
Outstanding. All right. Well, $71 and $10 at TopSport. So maybe have something each way. It could be primed to run a really big race there. So race 10 is the next one I'm going to have a look at. And wow, he's definitely going value hunting again here. And this is the VRC Life member, Anthony Yankin Sprint, over 1,000 metres. And Johnny Rocker's favourite here, $4.20. Lakota 5.5. Wiggum 6.50. Mornington Glory 6.50. Kashini 9.50. Manhattan Thunder 10. Bristler 10. And the horse outside of the market that Nico likes here is Bifrost at $26 for Billy Egan and the Brown Camp from New Zealand. Here it is, Nico.
Yeah, well, this stable's flying. We're with the Grace on Saturday. Too bad it's not a wet track, but I think this horse, they've kind of worked him out a bit. I just think he's a complete fresh horse. 1,000 metres seems to be his trip. They've tried to extend him out in the past, but they seem like they're just happy to keep him at these shorter courses. And I thought this is a really good jump out for a horse for a first up run. Outside his Foxicon, there's a big gap back to third in the Zebra. He's got ability. Obviously, he's going to jump out pretty well being a short course horse, but I just feel like this race, like Johnny Rocker's favourite, coming off some weird sort of Queensland form. I think if Wiggum ran up to his best, he probably would win, but he was pretty disappointing last start, and I don't really know why he's here, given his sort of profile. And then you go outside of them, like Lakota Fire looks like he might want further. This campaign hasn't jumped out terrific. Mornington Glory is just a bit beaten up. He keeps running well, but he can't win a race. So I think it opens up quite fast, and you got Bifrost from a stable that's just been trucking the last sort of 3 months. I think they've really sort of started to work out Pakenham, a horse who flies fresh, jumped out well, has a big turn of foot, probably going to get to the outside lanes, and you get Billy Egan. So I thought if you knocked a few of those inside the market, the race opens up very quickly. And he's a horse who I think has just as much ability as a horse like Manhattan Thunder and a few others who are $10 and he's $30. So I think he's right in play. And if he runs up to his jump out and can get to the right part of the track and get a bit of luck, I could see him storming home here fresh at a big price.
Horse like Kashini?
Yeah, well, she's going well, but I think we backed her maybe 2 starts ago on the syndicate, and she had every possible chance at Caulfield with the bias in her favour. Then she was okay last up. I think this is probably her level. It's probably like most of them in this field. It's probably around their level, and I think he's probably at that level as well. So the two I'll be back in the race is Bifrost. I'm going to have something on Rock Profit. I thought he jumped out really well leading to this campaign and got into that race first up at Flemington. He just had nowhere to go. Probably lost interest late, but I think he can prove definitely second up at 60-1 as well. So we're value hunting at Flemington, but I think it's a day to do it. You do see on these sort of off-season programs, that's when the roughies can tend to lob. So yeah, I'll be having, I think Bifrost can run a really good race fresh, and I'll be having something on Rock Profit as well.
Might have to start a new segment. Nico's Quaddy Legs, and I can do a cameo role as well. DK, I can't really add much more to race 10 at Flemington. Anything that catches your eye?
Oh, well, first thing caught my eye was these trials of this Johnny Rocker, like dead set smoke, John Allen just swinging off this thing. I mean, this is from Queensland. Does Walt know this horse? Like, I mean, it hasn't run
huge tip for it. Its first couple of starts. Huge. So, big watch. Yeah, big watch. I mean, I want to see market strength. If there's market strength for it late, like he locked it down on the line 2 ago, and then, it's just smoking underneath him. And I'm interested in seeing Mornington Glory at 1,000. It obviously doesn't run 12, and I reckon 1100's right at absolute max as well. And he's a good horse. That horse that beat him the other day, Midtown Boss. I think I'll give him one Mornington Glory more chance at 1,000. I reckon that might be the trick to him, 1,000 metres and camped on him. So they're sort of the two I was doing. Quaddy, doing the Scoots Quaddy, Nico's Quaddy. We can, interested in those, mate.
All right, we might, just to appease a couple at home, we might have a quick look at a couple of the Quaddy legs, just a bit of a giggle. Race 7 Flemington, Ray Magnerio, Jungle Jim, D-Horned Unicorn. D-Horned Unicorn's up in Queensland as well. I see it's dual nominated there. And you got horses like Zoo Sensation, Pink Bowtie. Anything stick out there, Nico, quickly?
Oh, I thought
Lean?
Probably Ray Magnerio on top from Jungle Jim, but not much between them, I didn't think.
Likewise.
Similar. Yeah, I think Pink Bowtie is a horse that would definitely be suited up the straight. He didn't really finish that far behind Ray Magnerio a few starts back either. Race 8, Oceans Above, Divine Purpose, Torrenzino, Slain, Lording in the market there. Oceans Above, they said it at TAS last time. We sent it for the syndicate, ran second, typical. I thought it was suited again with a better ride.
Yeah, I nearly came on to Torrenzino in this race. I thought he was Another horse that was way over the odds at $10, started favourite last start in an open race and just got a little bit too far back. His best runs last campaign where he got to 2,000, gets a good map from barrier number 10, probably just slots in behind them and should be a good early tempo here. So he's another horse on the day, a bit of odds I'll be back, and I thought he's a really strong chance of winning there. So, yeah, I'm pretty keen, Torrenzino.
DK's camp.
Yeah, Pushka. Yeah, no, I saw he appealed to me too. Yeah, so Torrenzino, love Pushka. Was just in good form still that stable. So and Divine, I think Divine Prophet there was another one you could throw in. Scoot had no luck, got too far back the other day. So I was being more prominent on Saturday, I would think.
Race 9 to round out the quarter. Bel Air, Helix, Space Tracker, Elkington Road, Right and Rose. He's our Bonneville, Lafargue. So Risque, rumbled again. British Columbia. Heck, I might have to go wide on that one. Nico?
Yeah, I didn't mind Elkington Road. Backed him out of the yard first up. I think he's returned really well. Get Zara, good map. Ballet, you probably definitely got to have in your quaddie. And I think Milton Park can really improve. Being made with a lone leader in this race, he didn't look a lot of speed, and I thought he'd be a big improver off not having much luck first up at July. If he runs back up to his best runs from sort of last campaign, we ran 4th behind Pinstripe, he'd be right in this race at 100 to 1. So he's in the quaddie as well.
Jeez, I don't know. You might have been at the Jungle Drums. You might have been at that Waltz bloody bongo drum. Man, with some of this out there thing, it's a real Larry Ashman, Nick Ashman, Ruffy hunting vibe, different sphere. DK.
I was just saying everyone can take one out here because if you want, because it'll be the old I'm dropping off and it makes it immoral, which is Helix. I just can't go on anymore, can't go on, just keep back. It just keeps getting beat. So I'm going to drop off it on the weekend and no doubt it'll hit the target. But, it's racing well, but it just keeps running to one bit of the bloody thing.
Anyway. Wasn't Joe McNeil's best ride last start.
No,
he just sat 3 wide and then just gassed it from the 800. So
yeah, true.
Absolutely.
It's in good form, but so there you go.
Yeah, there's a few possible improvers there. So anyone that thinks that we talk too much and don't tip enough, there you go. There's the quaddie legs at Flemington. So hit rewind, get your biro out, circle the old race page, and there you go. You can knock yourself out with a quaddie, and make sure you do it responsibly.
Some of the feedback, is it? That's the feedback we get.
Yeah, and I was surprised because you weren't on the show. They must be talking about Walt.
Last one.
I don't know. You can't please them all, but fingers crossed we've done it this time. So there's Nico's best couple of value bets across the card, and it looks like a race day of some pretty trivial events, I would have thought. So make sure you tread carefully, and good luck to anyone playing at Flemington. But it's good to have a couple of Flemington meetings in a row. Should be more racing at Flemington, I'd say. There's a bit of a weather watch up in Eagle Farm, so I'm going to have a look at one. I think it'll sort of be in the soft range. It's going to rain for the next 2 days. I know they pushed back Bell on a cup last week, and they're probably touch and go for tomorrow as well. So, yeah, as DK said, not every track up here is drying as well, but I'd expect a rain-affected track at Eagle Farm Saturday regardless. Race 6 at Eagle Farm's the one I like here. It's the congratulations Barry Baldwin Class 6 plate over 1,400 metres, and Substantial's a favourite here, $2.70. Betcha the Crown $3.40. Wairi Falls is $8.50. Indian Dreamer $10. Alcyone $11. Marnix is $13, and then Golden Point $15. Olaconado from the Dodson Yard is $18. Albert $26, and better the rest. There's 2 horses that I like here. I'm going to take on Substantial at the price. I just think at $2.70. I know he's got all the Grabini form.
It's in Sydney as well.
I'm not sure if he's going to start, but that's the horse I want to take on. This is a horse I like. I think he's still on the upward spiral. It's Betcha the Crown, and he just gets run down by Midnight in Tokyo here. He just hit a flat spot for a couple of 100 metres, and I sort of put that down to maybe the rain-affected track. I think it was a soft 6 that day, but I thought he kicked back again on the line, and through the line he was sort of starting to sort of come again, but he's usually raced in the earlier starts of his career, he always sort of come from back, and that was the first time he's sort of been out in front. So I think he'll take some benefit from that, and he's definitely a horse that can handle any sort of wet track conditions, taking a smaller price here, but I think they'll push you forward, or he can sit sort of first, second or third pair, and I think he can be even stronger late. So I think he's the one that you want to be with, and the sneaky value pick here is Alcyone. So Kelly Schweider, one of my favourites, Uncle Kelly, he's got this horse. It's in the orange, and CJ Graham is just absolutely swinging off this horse. They just dragged it straight back to last, And no, I don't really want to go out to the outside here, and just keeps it inside. And I just like the way he sort of get to the line. I guess there's nothing much in his sectionals, this horse, but absolutely loves sting out of the track. And the horse out in front is Tamerlane, Freedom Rally, and I think it was like a $300,000 race. So now gets back to a Class 6 plate, second up. And prior to that first up run, I thought it trialled pretty well over 1,000 metres, which is not its go at all, behind a horse called Rothfire. So I think this horse is primed, and at $11, if there's an upset, I think CJ Graham might be a little bit keener from, I think, the widest gate to hook it out and just come storming over the top of those runners there. So I think Alcyon's the definite fly in the ointment there if Betcha the Crown is sort of weak late. But that's a 2-bet strategy for me. I just think Substantial's a bit in the abyss, this horse, Walton. If it gets to the heavy range, he's like it maybe stays in Sydney, but it's not really a horse. I saw him at Kembla that day, and I didn't really like the way he got through it.
Yeah, he's in one of the races that I'm betting in Sydney, and the reason is he's actually just been scratched, so it looks like he's coming up here. Literally must have just been scratched. So, I was happy to bet around him in Sydney, a bit of far, stronger race in Sydney too. So, they've obviously come up here looking for a easier target, so it must be a bit of D-Day action for Substantial.
Yeah, I think he's could be absolutely gone, the horse, but it is a drop back in class. But happy to risk him, especially on the wet, if it gets to the heavy range, I'll be having more on. Puntingform.com.au is how I do my form. As Walt said, I can get into Adelaide and I can go into Flemington and get down to Tassie. I can terrorise the bookies anywhere. So if you want to up your game, make sure you head to puntingform.com.au and start learning about the benchmarks and sectional data with those guys for pre and post race analysis. Walt, Rosehill on Saturday. You guys have had a fair bit of rain too down there.
Yeah, it looks perfect though from now on. So it should be perfect, the track. I think there are 6 or 7 this morning, but unless something weird happens between now and then, it looks like it should get back to sort of 4 or 5 at the worst, which would be nice because if you like a 5 at Rosehill, just to make it a little bit fairer. If it gets a bit firm, it can be a bit leaderish. So I sort of like it when it's in that 4 to 5 range anyway.
Ferris Racing, beautiful. Race 5 is the first one we're going to have a look at. It's a Toyota Forklift Handicap over 1,100 metres. Cabalus is the favourite here, 290 to 260 at TopSport. Soldier of Rome 440, Epic Proportion 650. Steffi Magnetica is $8. Bomberia is $10. Satin and Silk $11, and $13 about Thunderlips, and you're getting further out of the market for the rest of those. We're going to have a look at the trial of the favourite here, Cabalus, and this is the one that you like.
Yeah, so it's a Waller horse now gone to Björn. They paid plenty of money for this horse, but sort of trial speaks for itself. This is its second trial. First trial was really good as well, but you can sort of see the way this horse moves, and they're not Humpty Dumpty horses in this trial, and you can see sort of with that minimal pressure, the way this horse gets to the line. So finds a race where it looks like they'll absolutely fly, which is again important. This horse looked really good for Waller. It was a bit of a funny. He gave it a weird preparation, sort of kept it up longer than you would have expected him to, and then it went for sale. So I was sort of coming into this prep with Björn thinking maybe it was a bit of a weird purchase, but the way it's trialling, you've got Soldier of Rome, Epic Proportions, Satin and Silks, Mad Leader, Wallenda drawn wide, Thunder Lips. They've got 3 horses from the Björn stable here, which is a bit interesting, all going to push forward. At worst, they're going to be sort of a solid tempo, you'd think, and I think this horse will just sit back. And Josh, not too many rides on the card. He'll be keen to go on this horse. Björn will be absolutely thriving if this gets up. He'll be just in the mounting yard all over the shop. If this gets up its first start off Waller, he'd love to win with it fresh. I think it'll be absolutely primed. Yeah, it was like $3 or something last night, but $2.60. I think still fair enough. I struggle to see how they'll hold this horse off, to be honest.
Odds on, you reckon?
I can see it firming. The price is not too big a thing. I think it'll probably be winning. I'm not too worried about the price. I just stablemate's maybe the danger, and it won at Bathurst or something first up, went really well. But like Soldier of Rome to me looks a horse that's probably going to wait 1400s more its go. Inside draw 1100, it'll get softened up maybe a little bit one pace late, and this horse just looks to have a nice turn of foot, perfectly placed here.
The 8 was the horse. It must have been tipped a couple of times in your chat room, and it makes sense because you got Orange and then Wellington, where it's one well, both starts.
Yeah, one of the guys in there's a part owner of it, and I think Tim and Josh have ridden it a few times. So yeah, it's actually, I think Josh was down on it in the other race, so it'd be interesting to see what they do. But Boomeree, is the other horse. It's a very fast horse in the race, so it's just, it's one of those times where you see a race and you go with 5 leaders. Maybe it won't eventuate, but these horses are basically all speed horses. Like, that's all they've got. So I don't think they've got an option to take a sit, especially sort of Satin and Silk and Bon Maria, what it's called. So camp off from JP and let it rip.
Beautiful. All right, sounds like you got a horn for that one. So chips in, Jobby. Rosehill Race 7 is the Shandon handicap, and as you say, substantial, has literally just been scratched. So 6 cent seductions for anyone that's played before we've recorded the show. Danistar's a favourite here, 320, Powerful Peg 380, Excelitus $3.90, Robusto, wow, still up, $3.90, Mission Phoenix, $17, Podium Queen, $17, Barossa Rosa, and then a Silvery Warrior round out the betting. The horse you like here is Powerful Peg, and it's ridden by Dildo Dylan Gibbons.
Dildo, so yeah, this is coming widest here in the green colours. Bit of an underrated horse that just never runs poorly, and he seems like the sort of horse that no matter what sort of grade you put him in, he seems to find that level. He maybe early looked like he was not so progressive, but they just, every time they step him up, he just keeps finding the line, and that's what you've got to love about this horse. First horse exposed here, first up, and just gets nutted late by, I think that's old Jamie Spa through the middle there, Union Army on the outside, who came out and won well since. The only little query, like second up 1,400, is the gate. He's just drawn a little bit sticky with similar horses, like similar speed horses drawn inside and out of him. Potentially, if he sort of boots forward, I could see him sort of lobbing the 1-1 pretty easy. But if he is a little bit hesitant and gets caught back, that's my only little query. They're just all horses that have pretty much found their mark. Excelitus was really good to us last start. He's probably the danger again and has the better draw. But I think this horse is just sort of a bomb-proof type. He just keeps finding, and he's doing it. I think he still hasn't found his ceiling, whereas I think these guys kind of have, and I just can't see him running poorly. What is he, $4-ish? I think that was before he was like $4.50 before Substantial came out. I think around $4 is certainly worth looking at in just a race that's very even, and he's got a bit of X factor about him where the rest sort of don't. They need things to fall their way to win.
So just need half a dildo ride.
Just need if we get the big 12-inch dildo, premium dildo, it'll be all over.
Beautiful. That makes sense to me, and you got a good handle on those horses, so we can push along. And racingwatch.com.au is the chat room that I reference. You can get Telegram, or you can get in the Discord channel, and it's a haven. It's a real safe sanctuary for punters, and it's a place where you can
sanctuary.
Yeah, you can learn about all sorts of stuff and weird and wonderful conversations. So step away from your family and get into the Discord channel, and you can become as sick as John and myself and watch racing and talk racing 24/7. So make sure you check out racingwatch.com.au. Nico, it's the Elwick Stakes / 1,000 Guineas / Summer Cup, Hobart Cup lead-up sort of race day on Sunday. And looks like a cracking card there at Hobart on Sunday.
Yeah, big card. Honestly, I've still got a fair bit of form to do, so I just sort of skimmed through the key races for today's show. But if you want the full form, they'll be on the racing.com tipping hub probably sometime Friday or at least before Saturday. So make sure to tune in there. And I think it's a really good program. So might still find some other bets in a few other races, but for this show, I think we've found two that look pretty hard to beat. Might double them up.
Yeah, outstanding. Hobart Race 8 is the first one we're going to have a look at. It's 1,000 guineas, 1,600 metres, and Wings of Songs is the horse that you like. You can have a look at the replay, winning the Tas Guineas. Bullish, dominant P. Payne, red with the white cap, set it alight early and lights out.
Yeah, and this race doesn't look much stronger. I was surprised she went around so long in that event, to be honest. She didn't have the easiest of runs. Dry McNeil sort of set her alight from the 6 or maybe even the 800, and she was still too strong from late. I think she'll be a filly in time that gets better over a further distance. I know the Sable were giving her a bit of a chance in the Oaks, and I think she got scratched the morning of or the week of. Just didn't, come through her last run well enough. But they've gone out of Tasmania and they won $125,000 race last start. That was dead set a benchmark 64. So they've placed her well. Looking at the operation at the moment, just looking at punting form, it says she has trained trainers to Adam Trinder. So I would be assuming she's probably stayed in Tasmania with Trinder, and she might continue her preparation down there, go to the 1,000 guineas, which is on Saturday, then on to the Oaks campaign. But Main Danger looks the horse that ran second there, and she had it well and truly covered. And this just looks like an easier event, similar ride. And you'd still think she's got a little bit up her sleeve. She might even get a better run from the inside draw. The tab did go up, and I think they were around $1.75. Hopefully we get a little bit better on the day, maybe a bit of evens. I think going forward, the one that could potentially do a bit of damage late is Badong. She is coming back in distance, but gee, it was a massive win last start at Devonport on the synthetic. Didn't look like she handled the track at all. Missed the start, got back to last, round the field up, and still won in dominant fashion. Maybe once they get up to 2,100 metres, she can make more of an impact. But I think she's around double figures. I probably wouldn't lose on her. Wings of Song looks very well placed. If she runs up to her last start, it should be extremely hard to beat. So, hopefully a little bit of a drift, but definitely could jam her into some multis or doubles if you're looking to play that way, because she looks very hard to beat.
Well, I can't add any more to that, but I do see that Badong kicked off at Wangaratta, so I'm sure DK's remembers that horse. But race 9's the next one we're going to have a look at, Hobart, and it's the Summer Cup. So as I referenced before, Hobart Cup's not till the 11th of February, so hold your horses. It's not the main event, but the horse that you found here, Nico, is the 3, and it's a Lambra Lad. It's, again, Paddy Payne, who seems to be targeting Tasmania.
Yeah, he was on the quick backup this day. He ran up Ballarat, and then they backed him up. Race shape didn't quite work out for him. It was quite a solid run. He got caught wide, had to push forward. I think if Billy had probably kept really rolling with that tempo, I think he probably would have finished off a bit stronger. I think he likes more of a test, this horse. He doesn't seem to have a big turn of foot. He just kind of grinded away there. The winner is Recall Power, who raced well enough throughout the spring in some okay races and might have just been a little bit better than him on the day. But he's had a trial since then. He trialled really well. He's back to 2,200 metres, and I'd be expecting in a race where a few of these have shown a fair bit of intent as a Hobart Cup lead up, and probably some of them trying to get their prize money up to get into a race like that. I could expect a genuine race with a bit of pressure, which would suit him coming back in distance to 2,200 metres with the trial between runs, and probably at peak, from a yard point of view now, having that last run and, probably getting to peak fitness. So I thought there was a lot of boxes ticked for him, and he's a horse last campaign that he bumped into some pretty smart horses at the end of last campaign, including mostly Cloudy one day at Flemington, who went on to run really well on the Bart Cummings, United Nations. He ran well in some good races. Serpentine, if you're lining up the Tasmanian form, I would say these Tasmanian feature races are probably like benchmark 78s, maybe benchmark 84s, being very generous. And Alhambra Lad's form suggests he's probably more like an open class of horse. And, put that all relative to Victoria, I think that makes him pretty hard to beat in a race like this. Like Ashley Boy's racing really well, absolutely flying for the new stable with Glenn Stevenson. But you look at his form when he was over here in Victoria, he would struggle to win a benchmark 70. I think he has improved with the new stable, but he's probably a little bit of a question mark getting out to a strong 2,200 metres. Swoop Dog's, he's very consistent. He ran in the Devonport Cup last start. He won this race last year, I'm pretty sure. So he'll be suited getting out to 2,200. But I think if Alhambra Lad turns up at his best and gets a good ride from the draw with John McNeil, I think he's probably too good for him. Just has a class edge on his rivals. So you could probably take the double, take the Pain 2, Wings of Song into Alhambra Lad. But I think Alhambra Lad's definitely worth backing by himself around that 230, 240 mark. Does seem a bit over the odds.
Yeah, outstanding. Just need a good John McNeil ride, which is a bit frightening, but go for the double and collect on Sunday. So two really good plays there. And as Nico said, there'll be more action on the racing.com website. And the other website that we love is the TasRacing FormplusPro site. So you don't have to sign up, but if you do, it's free to join on the TasRacing.com.au website, and you get access to additional replays, add-ons, the Steward Vision, and you can build your own black book and receive SMS or email alerts. So great domain to dip your toe into the water, and you get to see the benefit of a couple of those Melbourne horses that maybe change trainers or go down for the carnival, and the carnival's really starting to light up for the next month or so. So make sure you check out TasRacing.com.au for everything that you need to bet down in Tassie, and they've got the minimum bet laws too, so you can definitely get on it and have a good little swing there in Tassie. All right, we don't have Donny via video, but he filled the bag, as I said last week, with the moral double, $3.50 with Highness and the Place and King of Sparta, which was easy money. And this week he's got another one. It's Eagle Farm Race 1 number 7, and it's Dream Smart. So $4.20 at TopSport. And I think there's a couple of interesting runners hard in the market here that I'd be keen to oppose. And the first one here, I thought Mashani Crown was only just a horse from the Les Ross yard. It's on the back up for 2 weeks ago. It ran 2.3 lengths to Arabian Summer. But again, a bit of a query over a strong 1200. I would have thought that horse. And then a horse that you might know a bit about, Walt is Commanding Artist. It knocked up, I think it led and got beaten 4 to Parker in a Randwick 2-year-old handicap over 1,200 metres. So it might improve from that debut performance, but at $1.80, it looks like pretty well found.
Yeah, I reckon they're just sort of travelling the horse to give it a bit of experience. Sort of a next prep horse, whether he can get away with this or not sure. He could improve off that, or I think he's one that could go either way. So, yeah, I wouldn't be entertaining launching into $1.95. I had a good look at the Dream Smart, and it went absolutely berserk behind the gates and sort of was given no chance there, ran some really solid sections. So it can improve significantly without surprising, that's for sure. And I agree, the rest of them looked pretty steady. So even though on paper it looks like it's tackling a harder race, Dream Smart was well beaten its first start. It's a bit of a pen job and could improve out of sight. And the favourite certainly pretty shaky, only considering the odds. I wouldn't be surprised to see it win, but the odds look pretty aggressive.
I just thought hopefully the track doesn't fall apart and more horses scratched. This horse is on the 7-day backup. And then, as Walt mentioned, probably the biggest hurdle is hopefully they just get it in the gates and this horse could jump. But could even settle a lot closer. It looked like a bit of a trial.
That'd be the key to its chances. If it sort of settled closer, you'd be excited.
He may have found one here, though, Donny, so it'd be exciting. All eyes tuned to race 1, number 7 at Eagle Farm on Saturday. And we'll see how we go. TopSport Steamers. We've got the first one here is Eagle Farm Race 4, number 5, and it's Ring of Steel. I think this horse has always shown lots of potential.
What a name.
It
Ring of Steel.
Yeah.
Holy cow.
There was a Ring of Steel around Melbourne in the lockdown. But this horse won like a Learjet. If you see it, go back and have a look at the replay last start. It was $1.60, but it won by 5. It went like a bloody scored a cat, that horse. So I can see why someone's just launched into for 4,000 at 245. And I don't think there's a lot in this race. I haven't had a good look, but a quick look. It looks pretty obvious and looks a bit of a skinny race. So I think this horse will start odds on if it's not already there.
340 the tab, very generous customers. Fukabana or whatever it's called did look like it could be anything first prep. Certainly a horse that could significantly improve second prep. I think from memory it was a big gangly thing that did a bit wrong and then started very short and got beat at second start from memory. But it's probably the only other horse that's scary, but no rider, gate 15.
Do you reckon that's how you pronounce it?
Fukubana? What do you think it is?
I don't know. I'm not allowed to pronounce it.
If you want me to say it the way I would say it, if the last part of it was Nick, I can pronounce it a different way for you. But again, pretty skinny race. If it doesn't run, Ring of Steel will start very short.
Yeah, very short. Rosehill Race 5, number 1 is Cabalist, 1,200 at $2.80. That's mine. As soon as I saw Walt tip it,
1,200 at 280 when I sent you through what we were betting today. Yeah, good. Well done, Nick. You sniped the 280. I hope you got a boost as well, dog. Definitely
not my bet, but I'd like to take it now that Walt's declared it. Flemington Race 3, number 4, named after DK. This one, Dollar Chaser, $250 at $9. Nico, we've nearly done all of the Flemington races now.
He's got back into the line in a few of his recent races. Now he gets down the straight. So no Metro win race. So it's a pretty weak race. I had a good look at him. I thought he's probably around his right price in that sort of grade. He doesn't look better than his rivals, but with the right run, he's probably suited to straight track racing. He's got a big turn of foot.
I'm not good at pronouncing names. Gimcat, Jim Crack, On the Crack, whatever. Smoke more crack. But This is one for you, DK. You can help me with the trainer of Dollar Chaser, Bill Papasahardarakis.
Billy Paps. That's what they just call him, don't they?
BP.
He runs the isn't he the one who runs the Annabelle's stable down there?
Yep, he's the Pakenham man for Annabelle.
Yeah, and can find a horse too, in his own.
Got some ability. The last one here is Flemington Race 4, number 1, and it's Ostmar, $625 at $4.20. Interesting amount there.
I turned it up one day at Sandown, remember? Is that horse?
Oh, it sounds like you haven't forgot.
No.
Still got the job done. I was on, I remember. We were still collected, but and then we found her in that 1200 metre mare, that first race, and she didn't quite run up to it. I don't know. I kind of thought she might be just squib off her last campaign. Just didn't really show anything over 1200 last start, but I think she's got some ability. It's just how far she can actually run.
Some interesting Sydney siders in this one. Steffi Magichetio or whatever
she's
it's
in
called.
2 places in Sydney.
And then Power Ballad as well from Björn.
Power Ballad's definitely a squib, so it's cheap speed as well. So maybe that might set it up for Jamie.
Yeah, well, I found that it's Steffi, whatever her name is, but I was shocked that she come up 260 or 270 or whatever she did. I thought, this might be a good $6 or $7 chance to have a good crack at. But yeah, they definitely did miss her. It looks a good race for her, but they didn't miss her.
Agree. Like, you look at it coming out of Bathurst, it did go good, but it was that price. It was actually a better price than that at Bathurst. So, yeah, a bit hard to step into 6 to 4 at headquarters.
Oh, it's got a bit of the learning to fly form if you go back to the Widden Stakes. So I know one bloke who's probably still asleep. He might step into that one. DK, you're fresh, you're on holidays. Has any black bookers sort of popped up? You got the Blues. The only way to get through the Blues is to back a winner. Can you find us a winner?
Black Booker popped up tonight, so a few people, I'll give another one for tomorrow as well. But tonight, race 6, Shining New Deal. It's hard to miss it the other day. Cranbourne got held up all the way to the wash, so gets onto the open expanses of Pakenham tonight, so it'll be hard to beat in Scoot's mates' colours. And tomorrow, I thought race 1 at Cranbourne, I don't know, I thought the market was skew here. I thought, especially when they went up early. My Rockefeller put a hole in the favourite last start. I know they're both stepping to the 2,500, but it's had the 2 runs at 2,000. It's had the run at Cranbourne over 2,000, which was unlucky as well. And then it's just got beat the other day, putting 3.5 links on Henry Knackers. And Ninty's in the market there too. He's none from 13. He has struggled to win a race ever. So I thought tonight, if people don't watch the show in time for tonight, tomorrow there's another one there, race 1, My Rockefeller. So Shiny New Deal, My Rockefeller Scoot.
Paul Gatt for John McArdle. Didn't know Paul was over there.
Yeah, well, beat the favourite home 3.5 links the other day. They put up $4 and $2.25. The horse that beat at home 3.5 links. Well, where does that make sense? Anyway, it'll probably make sense after the race, after MD steers the other one straight past it. But anyway, who knows?
Beautiful. Oh, good to have you back, DK, and good to have everyone up and across the form and back fresh from holidays. Not that we have holidays, if you ask Walt, but everyone's up and about. And we did the show on the backup. I said last week maybe we don't do the show, but we're going to just keep the momentum up. Momentum.
I'd made plans for today and you ruined them.
Mate, you go bowling. You've got
I'm
no
going
plans.
to get my hip book back in, so I had to move my appointment back.
Mate, that's a different level of sick. Play golf and then go 10-pin bowling. That's why your hip's gone.
The Betfair with the function there, Scoot, and met the lovely Beck for the first time. Like, I know, like there's, I'm batting way out of my class, and most of us all are. But Walt, that's another level. Fuck, bet, if Walt's found Beck, please. Like, anyway.
Mate, sometimes you get lucky. I'll tell you the story one time. It'll be interesting. We won't tell that story on air.
Yeah. Might save it for the next stream.
Yeah.
Could be a long one. Anyway, love story.
There were
Everyone
some
needs
big
one.
hitters at that night. We didn't get to butt heads with too many of them, but there were some big names in that room. There was big Andrew Jones and Jason Scott. You had a chat to him. Hopefully some progress was made.
Yeah. Yeah, it was a bit of a tale of two CEOs, wasn't it?
Mm.
You saw Jason sort of work the room and someone else was hiding in the corner.
Mm. Pot plant.
Yeah.
Pot plant, anyway.
It could be the sign of the times or sign of things to come. But Queensland Racing is absolutely flying. So we are a Queensland Racing show, and hopefully we found you got a couple of winners all across the East Coast, and hopefully a couple on Sunday as well down in the Apple
Nico
Isle.
will have the early quaddie numbers ready for whatever he does on Saturday too. He's only done He's the best, Dicko.
He's still finding. He's sort of taken January off, and he's still just leaving all this gold in his Telegram group.
People are blowing about. Not many shows tip at about 7 venues, so they're blowing about racing content. They can't blow after today. Most joints just stick to one joint. We've given them. They've got a variety of tips as the syndicate. That's what the syndicate does. It bets on a variety of venues. So there it is. Tips on about 7 venues.
There you go. If you want more stuff, jump into the Little Birdie Syndicate. We go anywhere for a winner. But it'll take me about 4 weeks to write up the email because I think there's about 30. We've tipped in 35 races. I'll put the quaddy numbers up. I can't do much more, but we'll definitely see you next week because it's 2-year-olds and it's the previews, the preludes, and something that happens at Caulfield, and Nico goes bananas. So he'll be chomping on the bit, and we'll see you next Thursday. Enjoy.